I did want to start by asking real quick, how many of you either have friends or family members who are first responders, police officers, firefighters, paramedics? It looks like a good number of you. Well, my company, the Praetorian Group's mission is to help first responders share information, stay better informed, and better protect their communities. Hopefully also come home safe at the end of the day. Janice mentioned a couple of our websites. Our 4 primary brands are police1.com, firerescue1.com, ems1.com, and corrections1.com. We also run another 20 websites that are niche-oriented, vertical, topical publications for each of these markets around specific issues that these groups face. I see each of our websites as an online business-to-business media portal, and what that means is we aggregate content and information for each of these groups. We build a community, we build a database of members, and each of those sites has hundreds of thousands of articles. We have training tips, we have videos, we have industry news, and analysis of that industry news, as well as expert commentary. We've also moved into online training. In addition, we have very robust product directories and company directories that are paid for by sponsors. For those of you who are not familiar too much with the public safety market, it represents about $25 billion in spending on products and services. There are 4 million first responders out there in the United States. We currently have 850,000 of them within our database across our sites, and that's about 20% market share. Public safety traditionally has been a pretty well-targeted B2B segment by a lot of the print and trade show publishers that many of you are likely familiar with. Cygnus, Elsevier, Penwell, Penton all have media properties within our space. I started the Praetorian Group 12 years ago, and we went through the dot-com boom and bust. And we initially raised a lot of VC funding to go after this market. We spent a lot of money through the dot-com period, and then everything crashed. We ended up going down to 3 employees and have since built the business back up to 50. We'll do $8.5 million in revenue this year. We're growing at 15%, and our EBITDA is about 20%. What I wanted to talk to you guys today about is a business model component that we've added to our business over the past 2 years that has really jump-started our revenue streams in what is a very difficult economy, particularly in public safety, where 75% of state and local governments have been really hit hard by the economy and don't have a lot of extra money to spend. That business model is a model where we are assisting firefighters, fire departments, police departments to access grant funding opportunities that are available at the federal, state, or foundation level. But before I talk about that, I wanted to provide a little bit of context about how I think about online publishing and online data. One of the things Russell mentioned in his intro was that we as professionals need to be masters of the medium. And over the past 12 years, I've really used public safety as my sandbox and as a place where I can test out new business ideas, where I could look into different ways where I can monetize content, monetize user profiles, and monetize data. One of the ways I think about that, and I think it's very critical from an online publishing standpoint, is really looking at revenue per user per year. As you can see, I've identified a couple of major online companies and how they do in terms of their monetization of users per year. Google in their vertical search or search capabilities, very good at monetizing, $24, $25 per user per year. Facebook is at $4, improving, but still they have challenges monetizing. LinkedIn at $2.50. You know, they could buy barely a cup of coffee at Starbucks for that amount per year. We're at $11, which I think is pretty good, but it is something that we're continuously working on. If you look to the right, I've also included how our revenue per user breaks out. We are 75% advertising driven. And when I think about the current economy and state and local budgets, the companies we work with, Motorola, who does the police radios, Panasonic does the tough books and the patrol cars, GM, Ford, are manufacturing vehicles for our market. They're being hit pretty hard by the current downturn because the cities and state budgets aren't growing, and in a lot of cases shrinking, so they don't have a lot of money to make capital expenses. So what we've done is we have added a component to our business model around grant assistance and grant funding. I want to talk a little bit about how we came about adding that and use it really as an example for you to think about who are your customers, what opportunities exist for you to add new services or new business models that you can layer on top of your existing business that can be done quickly, relatively easily, and really jumpstart your business. So I'm going to flash back to 2007. A company called Masimo approached us. They're a medical devices manufacturer. And they manufacture the RAD-57, which is the product on the right there. And it is a really cool product. You can put it on your finger, and it measures the amount of carbon monoxide you have in your blood non-invasively. And so if you think about what firefighters do on a day-to-day basis, they're going in and out of burning buildings. They're breathing in a lot of smoke. Carbon monoxide has serious long-term health effects, but the symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning are very, very light. And so firefighters who are coming out of burning buildings aren't going to complain that they have a stomach ache or a headache, but they're really at risk of cancer issues, health issues longer term because of this. So Masimo came to us and said, how are we going to tell this story? How are we going to introduce this product into the fire market? So as a good online publisher, we built a microsite, we sent out a lot of emails, we did a lot of promotion, really helped them educate the market. Then 2008 came around, and we really, all of a sudden, we're in a new world. Budgets were down, the economy had collapsed, and all of a sudden, I got the call that as a publisher, you never want to get, which is when your biggest client says, our leads aren't converting at all. And I don't really have any ability to affect whether state and local budgets have money to buy their product. I don't really know what their salespeople are doing. But we were on the hook to figure out a solution. And so we stepped back and really looked at different ways in which we could help facilitate funding for this product. We thought about how do we better tell the story to make it more of an urgent need. You know, the need was there. The market wants the product. They just don't have the money. We ended up researching the grant availability for fire departments. And for those of you who don't know, and we weren't completely aware, even though we had been in the vertical for a long time, that there is $2 billion worth of money and capital available for public safety in the form of federal, state, and foundation grants. Now, the problem is all of these grants are listed in a lot of different places. So when I saw the dinosaur slide from this morning with the long tail of data, which I thought was a really cool slide, I thought exactly of the data set that we've built, which is a database of grant listings and grant opportunities for public safety. The thing we layered on top of that was a level of grant assistance. Because if you're a firefighter or a police officer, you didn't join the police department or the fire department to write grants. You want to be out there chasing bad guys. You want to be breaking down doors. You want to be saving people from burning buildings. You know, writing grants is not a high priority. And the process is convoluted. It's very fragmented. So what we did is we built a lead form and a campaign where we started driving leads of people who wanted the RAD-57 at their department. They submitted the lead, and then we would help them through the grant process. So within a year, we had 1,000 leads that were submitted, representing $2.5 million in value. We helped 75 of them actually submit grants. Half of those were awarded, and $1.2 million of revenue was generated from this program. And I stepped back and I said, wow, this is really impactful. How can I take this little case study, this little ad campaign, and apply it across police, fire, and EMS? How can I take it from one vendor to the market? In an environment where the economy is down, there are a lot of challenges, no one's doing well. So what I did is I took the lead generation form and process we'd created and created Fire Grants Help, which includes online tools. We do a online training program where you can get grant assistance. We added outreach. We send newsletters out. Weekly, we have grant alerts when new grants are available. We have pretty complex search tools. We have video training segments, how-to sessions, that sort of thing. We've also layered in a very manual assistance process. And for those of you who heard about Agency Finder yesterday, there was a very significant offline component of calling those agencies and working them through the process. We actually call the departments and help these guys through the grant writing process. We have also rolled it out to police and EMS. The results in the last 2 years, we've had more than 7,500 leads submitted. We've helped departments raise more than $12 million in grant funding. And we've really built for our advertisers and the vendors in the market a very visual and tangible way where they can use marketing dollars to drive leads that are assisted through the process, that lead to grant submissions, and at the end of the day have tangible ROI, which is really a big deal if you're an online publisher and pretty much the holy grail. And it's something that we've been able to add in that has taken our business to the next level in a down economy. We're currently generating $750,000 a year in revenue from this business. It's gone from 0 to 750 in 2 years. We think it will double over the next 2 years as well. Now, outside of this just being a pretty interesting case study of how to launch a business model component, what I wanted to highlight is that each aspect of this business supports our core model, being an online publisher. It drives additional registered users. We've generated 40,000 to 50,000 new members for our sites through this program. And those members are decision makers. We have detailed biographical department information and purchasing information from them because they're filling out all this detail when they submit lead forms. Secondly, we're providing a great service for advertisers in the market. You know, we call ourselves the online leader in public safety. How do we do that? We want to be the thought leader, and we want to help our clients, vendors serving the market, solve business problems using online technology. And that's what this really does. And then finally, at the end of the day, we're developing a ton of goodwill with our users. We're helping them get money to buy products that they need when they don't have any budget. So if you're a fire department or police department and we're helping you get a fire station or a new police car, that's a big deal. Or bulletproof vests that are going to protect your officers. It's really done well in supporting our core business. So I think to summarize, if you're looking to jumpstart your businesses, I think I'd recommend thinking very, very carefully about both sides of the customer equation. And for us, that's our users, and it's also the vendors and advertisers. And really thinking about the data sets, even if they're really, really long-tail data sets, and what processes those impact and how your customers use those data sets. And then what we did in this case, I didn't sit back 3 years ago and say, well, we're going to build this great grants business. I never would have done that. What we did is we threw some stuff out there, we stepped back, we iterated, we threw it out again, and we built a business that is pretty sizable. But that's really through testing and being creative, and also thinking very carefully about what types of business model components can I add to my company that do two things. One, increase the amount of revenue per user that we're generating, but secondly, automatically generate more users. So if I'm generating more users and I'm adding a nice revenue line item to those users, and I'm creating a system that reinforces what we do, that's a huge win-win, and that's a great way to jumpstart a business. So hopefully there are some nuggets in this that might help you think a little bit more differently about your businesses, but I'd recommend just testing things, throwing things out there, and seeing what happens.
Okay, thank you.